As America's 30th president, 1923 to 1929, Calvin Coolidge showed his assurance to safeguard the old moral and monetary statutes of thriftiness in the midst of the material thriving which numerous Americans were getting a charge out of during the 1920s period. At 2:30 on the morning of August 3, 1923, while visiting in Vermont, Calvin Coolidge got word that he was president. By the radiance of a lamp fuel light, his dad, who was a legal official public, directed the promise of office as Coolidge put his hand on the family book of scriptures. Coolidge was an recognized for character more than for brave accomplishment, and composed a popularity-based admirer, Alfred E. Smith. His extraordinary undertaking was to re-establish the poise and glory of the administration when it had arrived at the least ebb in our set of experiences, in a period of excess and waste, brought into the world in Plymouth, Vermont, on July 4, 1872, Coolidge was the child of a town vendor. He was moved on from Amherst School with distinction, and entered regulation and legislative issues in Northampton, Massachusetts. Gradually, deliberately, he went up the political stepping stool from councilman in Northampton to legislative leader of Massachusetts, as a conservative. In transit he turned out to be completely moderate. As president, Coolidge exhibited his assurance to save the old moral and financial statutes in the midst of the material flourishing which numerous Americans were appreciating. He wouldn't utilize government monetary ability to really take a look at the developing blast or to enhance the discouraged state of horticulture in certain enterprises. His most memorable message to Congress in December 1923 called for disconnection in international strategy, and for tax breaks, economy, and restricted help to ranchers. He quickly became well known in 1924 as the recipient of what was becoming known as Coolidge flourishing, he surveyed in excess of 54% of the famous vote. In his debut he declared that the nation had accomplished a condition of satisfaction sometimes before seen, and vowed himself to keep up with the norm. In ensuing years he times rejected ranch help charges, and killed an arrangement to deliver modest government electric power on the Tennessee stream. The political virtuoso of President Coolidge, Walter Lippmann, called attention to in 1926, was his ability for really sitting idle, and this dynamic dormancy suits the state of mind and sure of the necessities of the nation outstandingly. It suits all the business intrigues which need to be, not to mention. What's more, it suits every one of the people who have become persuaded that administration in this nation has become perilously convoluted and cumbersome, and Coolidge was both the most negative and remote of presidents, and the most open. He once made sense of for Bernard Baruch why he frequently sat quietly through interviews, and indeed, Baruch, commonly I say just yes or no to individuals. Indeed, even that is excessively. It wraps them awake for 20 minutes more, and however, no president was kinder in allowing himself to be captured in Indian conflict hats or cowpoke dress, and in various appointments to the White House. His dry Yankee mind and his moderation with words became unbelievable. His significant other, Beauty Goodhue Coolidge, related that a young lady sitting close to Coolidge at an evening gathering trusted to him she had wagered she could get something like 3 expressions of discussion from him. Without taking a gander at her he unobtrusively countered, and you lose, and in 1928, while traveling in the dark slopes of South Dakota, he gave the most popular of his short assertions, and I don't decide to run for president in 1928, and When the debacle of the economic crisis of the early 20s hit the country, Coolidge was in retirement. Before his demise in January 1933, he trusted to a close buddy, and quote, "I believe I at this point not fit in with these times."